Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another show of Harmonics. Today's guest is one of the best guitar players in the San Francisco Bay Area, a great one. Plays with the legendary band Earthquake, Scotty London. Brother, how are you here today, man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
I feel like I'm on fire next to you, brother.
Oh, stop it.
Huh, you really good? You feeling good? You doing all right?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. You know, the COVID thing's slowing everything down for everybody.
It's
but,
terrible, isn't
you know,
it?
Doing all right, getting by, doing the best we can, you know?
So let's get into what Scotty London's life's all about. I know you're one of the badasses, guitar players and all that. When did you actually start playing music?
I was
influenced you?
about 15, I guess, when I started playing guitar. And, you know, at that point, I'm in high school. And back in those days, man, it was all about Led Zeppelin and Hendrix. And Deep Purple and UFO, you know, that's where I was coming from. So that's, as a high school kid, that was what inspired me. I was a big Ritchie Blackmore guy, you know.
Excellent.
Ritchie Blackmore was the king for me. And so, and Hendrix, of course, Hendrix.
Yes.
So, you know, that's what got me into it initially as a guitar player. And then, you know, it grows from there and music goes in and out of phases and stuff. And you kind of follow along and find your way through all that stuff.
So, what was your first guitar?
Well, I had a really cheapo guitar that I first got. I got it for Christmas when I was like 12, never touched it, you know. And then, you know, when I got to be 14, 15 years old, I started goofing around on it, and a couple of my buddies started playing guitar.
Yes.
So we all kind of started out together. And then by the time I started taking lessons, I took lessons from Vic Trigger. I don't know if you remember
yes,
the
of
Vic
course.
Trigger band from Berkeley. He ended up being the head guy at Musicians Institute down in LA.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but anyway, so me and my friends, we were all taking guitar lessons from Vic Trigger and getting started playing guitar. And at that point, you know, I was begging my mom, oh, I got to have a Stratocaster band. Hendrix and Blackmore play Strats. I got to have a Strat. Please, Mom, please.
So true.
And so, you know, she relented and got me a Strat. And I've still got that Strat to this day, a 78 Strat.
Wow. Amazing.
78 wood
Do you
grain
use
Strat.
that at all when you're playing?
I do. It's not my main guitar anymore, but that's the number 2 that I bring with me to gigs.
Wow, that's wild. 78, so shoot, that's 42 years old.
Yeah.
Huh? That's pretty amazing, brother. Pretty amazing. So in your life, you played with a lot of different bands. So give me a background on that. You played local clubs. I know you played some very big shows. But tell me about you didn't immediately start. You were doing covers, and then when did you start doing original music?
Well, you know, back in the high school bands, yeah, we were doing covers and stuff. My first band was called Aftermath. I played in high school, you know, and we thought we were Aerosmith. You know, 2 guitar players and a flamboyant lead singer.
All right.
But, you know, it wasn't too long after that, I guess early 20s, we started a band called Cement Trampoline.
Great name.
And we started out playing covers. You know, we couldn't find a lead singer that we liked. So we started singing ourselves.
Right.
Me and my partner Jim, my best friend since 4th grade, you know. And so, you know, we've kind of discovered when we started singing that our voices sounded better together, right? So we started working on harmonies and singing harmony and dual vocal parts and stuff like that. So naturally that led us to kind of, you know, playing Beatles songs and Everly Brothers and that kind of oldie stuff with harmonies, right?
Right, makes it beautiful.
Yeah, and so, you know, that kind of, we started out as doing kind of an oldies tribute thing. And then from there, you know, we started, after, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, we started writing songs. And then from there, it kind of developed, and we got a pretty good following. We made a little demo tape, and we gave it to, I don't know if you know Russ Ketter.
I've heard of that name.
He was the owner of Rather Ripped Records in Berkeley.
Right.
if you remember Rather Ripped
Of
Records
course
in
I do.
Berkeley. Yeah, legendary record
Legendary.
store, right? You know,
Yes.
and he signed us to a little indie record deal, and we put out a couple of records. You know, we did good. We thought we were hot stuff, you know, back then.
Of course.
And you know, we had a couple albums out, and we were playing big shows, opening for, you know, guys from the Velvet Underground and Psychotic Pineapple, and just, you know,
Just names.
doing good shows. Berkeley Square, you know,
Berkeley Square was a fun place.
all the Keystones,
Yeah, it's
that
great
kind
places
of stuff.
played.
So, you know, and that was when we started writing music, though, was in Cement Trampoline. And we had kind of, Jim and I had kind of a friendly rivalry. You know, he'd write a song, and I'd go, man, that's pretty damn good. You know, okay, all right, I got one for you. You know, so I'd hammer one or two out, and he'd go, all right, you know, and we'd go back and forth, and eventually we had a pretty good repertoire of original songs. And that's kind of how it started. And to this day, you know, Jim passed away several years ago now, but I still kind of think, how would Jim approach this? He's kind of my songwriting sounding board to this day, right? You know, love you, Jim. So, you know, I even when I'm still writing songs to this day, I still kind of think about
Jim.
that kind of.
That's a beautiful thing. That is really beautiful.
And so that was kind of the birth of my personal songwriting journey, was in Cement Trampoline, and, you know, getting material ready for the couple of records that we got signed for. And then from there, you know, once you get into that, you can't stop.
No, you can't. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA, I should say, right?
And so then I start, you know, reading all kinds of books and, you know, songwriting craft, and, you know, because people don't realize that there are
It's a technique.
There's very specific techniques and very specific little tricks and very specific things that work. Right?
Exactly.
There's, you know, so you're not really trying to reinvent the wheel when you're writing a song. You're doing proven techniques that work and things like that. And so if you really dig into it and learn the songwriting craft, and again, nobody better than the Beatles, the songwriting craft. You know what I mean? So if you study the Beatles at all, you learn quite a bit about songwriting.
You learn how it's done, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing your craft, let's just say let's just picture Scotty's at home. Maybe got the little candle going, or you got the little drink or whatever. Got your guitar. What key do you play in, or do you play in a variety of different keys? What is the key? What is your favorite key? Because I know you played with a lot of lead singers, and you got a great one right now. We'll talk about him a little bit later.
It kind of depends on what guitar I'm playing. If I'm just sitting around on the couch and I pick up my acoustic that's sitting around, I'm usually in the key of G.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Open G. Just because, you know, you've got all your open chords available to you in that key.
Right. Only one sharp.
Yeah, and so that's just the easy way to go. You know, if you're strumming an acoustic guitar. If I'm playing an electric guitar, you know, it could be anything, honestly. When I'm really writing a song, I will play with different keys to see where it fits the vibe. You know, where does this riff fit the best?
How does it formulate?
I mean, a lot of times, you know, if you've got a lot of open string riffs, you're going to be in E or A or one of those open type keys. But most of the time, I will kind of play with the key to see where that whole vibe fits the best. And to be honest, I don't really think about what key the singer's going to be singing it in. He'll have to adapt to the song, I suppose.
Exactly. You have to. That's true. That's very true. You know, Derek and I do the same thing. He goes, "What key you want to sing?" I always say E, A, D, whatever. And then he'll go, "But we're going to do it in G." Okay. You got to do that right. You got to follow your partner. So when you're doing that, and you're just, are you actually writing the melody? You're getting the chord structure right. Are you going 1-4-5 pattern? You going minor, or
no,
you just?
I rarely do 1-4-5.
You're just doing what are you doing?
That's been done.
That's blues, right?
That's been done.
So what do you normally go into? You just
that kind of depends on how inspiration hits you. You know, sometimes I'll think of, or you know, a cool phrase will pop into my head. Well, hell, that'd be a great little catchphrase for a song. You know, there's my hook. Right? And so then it's all about turning that into a musical statement, and it all builds out from there. Other times, I'll be noodle around on the guitar and just go, oh, that's kind of a cool riff, and it all builds out from there. So there's no one way of doing it, you know? It's kind of whatever is happening at the time, that's working, go with that.
Let's go with
you
it.
know?
Right.
And so that's the approach I take to it anyway, is just, you know, whenever something hits, follow
That's
up
it.
on it.
That's it.
Feed on it.
I wanna say something real quick. What he just said about noodling on the guitar, that's old expression. I'm just noodling on the guitar. I call my guitar players up back in the day, and then I go, "What are you doing?" I'm just noodling around my guitar, you know, because you're just kind of you're riffing all over trying to figure this thing
Yeah,
out.
just playing.
Just playing. So right now you're in the midst of. I know you're a guitar teacher. So how does that affected you? This whole pandemic, the last, what is it? Now we're in the 9th month or 10th? Yeah, 9th month.
Too many months.
Yes.
Well, it's affected everybody.
Right.
You know, I mean, the band
Nobody's
has
playing.
no gigs.
Yeah.
The band has no gigs.
Right.
That put everything, you know, brought it all to a screaming halt. And we were just at the very beginning of the songwriting process for an album. We wanted to record an album this year.
Right.
And so we, you know, that all stopped. Everything stopped.
Everything.
Everything just stopped. So, you know, no gigs, no recording. We're still songwriting,
Okay.
you know, but we have to do that virtually.
Virtually, right?
Yeah,
Remotely.
you know, with FaceTime and Zoom and all that kind of stuff. So we're doing that.
Okay.
You know, I've put a few songs in. Robbie's co-writing with everybody and writing. He, you know, and Johnny, everybody's contributing.
Right.
And we're, you know, we got a pretty good batch of songs right now,
Good.
but we're just kind of waiting until we're able to
Go into
get in the studio.
Right.
You know,
right.
get in the studio and safely record with everyone, and you know, not have to be so
rigid.
walking on eggshells.
Yeah, I know.
you know?
It's so odd. So how many students? I know you're. I've heard about your teaching guitar. How's this affected you? What was the height of your, you know, your students till now? What did you have at one time?
Well, at one time I had about 40, close to 40. That was the peak. Usually I'm at around 30, 32, 33 students
How about
per
now?
month.
Really? How about now?
Well, per week, actually. Now I'm down to 16, 18, something like that, I think it is.
Wow.
So I'm at about half.
Right.
You know, it's the pandemic has
hurts.
cut my business. You know, that's my bread and butter. Right? You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah,
You and I
exactly.
know. You know,
Yeah.
we don't make a lot of money
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
clubs.
Right.
So, teaching, you know, is where I make my money, and I'm living on half my dough.
Wow.
You know, so it's not an easy time. It's not an easy time.
So when a student comes to you, I just want to, because you got to be one of the most likable guys on the scene. You know that,
Why,
man.
thank you.
know, you know how when we met, you're just a great guy. How do you start a student? Like, say when a student, you got beginners, possibly intermediate, and then you got guys that are really trying to learn some other tricks from you and your experience. How do you balance that out? You know, you got to be real kind to the beginner. You don't want them to leave.
Right. Well, that's part of the thing anyway, is encouragement, right? No matter what level they're at or how good or bad they are, encouragement is part of the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always say, you know, you're doing great. Keep it up, man. Practice this week. Do great. Don't forget to bring your check next week, you know?
Right. It's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's
So,
supposed to be realistic, right?
But, you know, it depends, honestly, on where the student is, you know? The very beginner students, little kids, you know, 7, 8, 9 years old, you got to start them out with Mary Had a Little Lamb, playing just a little melody on one string, learning how to press down notes and pick at the same time, and, you know, it's just a mechanics thing.
Right.
And so, you know, that's where you start little kids in the very, very beginning. You know, intermediates who can already play some chords, you know, you'll jump into teaching them some songs, you know, okay, let's do Hotel California, or, you know, songs, you know, they want to learn songs at that point. And so, you know, you got to kind of judge every student for where they are when they start. Obviously, you know, you get more advanced students. All right, now let's get into modes, and let's get into different soloing things and different, you know, key structures and melodic theory and all kinds of things like that. Songwriting, you know. I love getting into the songwriting end of things with students, because there's so much to talk about, right? Little tricks, again, those little tricks and little techniques that work. And those are things that
They're key.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. And that's what really is fun to turn people onto, right? When people discover that, then all of a sudden they're sitting in their car listening to a song, and they'll go, oh, well, there's that middle eighth that he was talking about, right? There's that
Bingo.
bridge. Oh, double chorus at the end. He was just telling me about that, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, things like that. Just
And it makes you feel good and makes you motivated even more to get them involved even more with their instruments.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I think back to, again, I'll mention him again, Vic Trigger, my guitar teacher, right?
I remember
Huge
that, right.
influence on me.
Right.
Right? And started my whole journey pretty much. And
Is Vic still alive?
no, he's not.
Oh,
He
okay,
passed away
yes.
a few years ago, too. What was I saying? Oh, but to be kind of that guy for other people is huge for me.
It's a blessing.
I really enjoy it, and it really
It's
is
a spiritual
blessing.
connection.
It
because,
is.
because what you're saying right there is you're taking the man that actually showed you, a music teacher, and you're carrying that on,
Exactly.
carrying it on to
Exactly.
others.
And like I said, it was so huge for me. If, you know, I don't expect to be that huge for all my students, but if I can be that huge for even one or two of those people,
You made it.
that's huge.
Right. It's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
And I hear all the time from people, you know, students that I haven't seen in 4 or 5 years will call me up and go, oh, dude, I'm in a band now, and we're playing out, and it's great. And I just
great.
want to thank you for my journey, and you know, so that's the kind of stuff. Besides
Makes
the
it
money,
happen.
yeah, that
Makes it
really
happen.
makes it, you know, a fun and worthwhile profession. You
Right.
know, because I always told myself, as a kid, you know, I was pretty realistic. You know, very few people become mega rock stars.
Very few.
You know, and so, you know, I never really expected to be a big rock star. Of course, I wanted to.
Of course.
we all did.
Well, yes,
we
of
all
course.
did. You know, that's
Of course.
that
That's
was
the dream. That is the dream.
But I always told myself, you know, if I could just make a living on my guitar, I'd be a happy man.
Amen.
You know, and so I've been doing that for
Bring a lot of joy, brother.
for many years now.
You bring a lot of joy when you're on stage, and you can see that you have a lot of joy. I think once the pandemic comes back, gets out, and we get back to playing live again, I think there's going to be a whole different kind of joy.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because you're missing it. You know, this is the first time it kind of like
For
everything
us
just.
and the audience.
Yes, and I think that's a thing. Let's talk about your band, Earthquake. Long life, long life, long
Oh,
lines,
yeah.
long. You got roots there. Let's talk about each of them individually because you're there. We'll go to the rhythm section first. Let's go to Larry Lynch, great drummer. Huh?
Great drummer, great vocalist. Man, that guy can sing.
Sing.
Yeah. He added a whole nother dimension to our band when he joined. You know, just the harmonies and the beautiful vocals that he adds, in addition to being a badass drummer.
Badass drummer.
And just the, you know, the
His
professionalism.
exuberance.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Right.
You know, so
Played with Ken.
yeah,
Played with
yeah,
Greg.
from the Greg Kinn band.
Yeah.
You know, played on all those great records, those
All of
million selling
So
records.
Big time.
Yeah, he played on all those. So, yeah,
Great guy.
nothing like Larry, man. Nothing like
Nothing like Larry. Such an exuberant guy, and that's how when you went to your show when I did the MC for you guys when you did the video, I got to reconnect with Larry because we played Long Branch 40 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So then, the Jet.
Jimmy Jett.
Yeah, Jimmy Jet, man. Spalding, tell me about him. I know he's going through a little bit of health issues.
He's got some health issues he's dealing with now. I don't know how much we want to get into that right here,
we
but
don't. Great bass player.
oh, unbelievable bass player. Again, you know, all the guys in the band are top notch.
Class A.
Yeah, top notch. So that's what's fun about it. But Jimmy's the nicest guy in the world.
Of course.
Jimmy's just the nicest guy in the world, man. I love Jimmy, and you know, a great musician, great ear.
Great stage presence.
Yeah.
Exuberant.
I mean,
stays in the pocket.
That's something that I feel like this band really has going for them, is that everybody likes each other, genuinely likes each other, and we get along well, and we have fun together, and
Should be playing Fillmore. That's what I tell people.
I'd love
you
to.
know, huh?
I'd
You know
love
what I
to.
mean? So, and then let's go over to your lead vocalist, who we've known a long time, Johnny O'Day.
Johnny O'Day. Johnny got me in the band, basically.
You guys were in a band together previous years ago.
Not really. No,
You guys
we've
knew,
just
but
known each other.
You guys kind of rubbed shoulders.
Yeah.
then,
Oh yeah. We've been very good friends for many, many years.
Great singer.
Back in my Cement Trampoline days, Johnny was in a band called Air Raid.
Yes.
With the great Tommy Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Tommy.
Oh, so I know Tommy too.
And
Got to get
so-
him on the show.
Yeah. And so, and Cement Trampoline and Air Raid were very different bands, but we were like brother bands because we hung out all the time and
right.
gigged together and did all kinds of stuff together. And you know, they'd come to our gigs and we'd go to their gigs. And,
Support.
yeah, and you know, even when we weren't gigging, we were hanging out. You know, we were those were the party days, right?
Of course.
So, but Johnny was the singer in Air Raid, and so that was when I first met him, and that was again many, many moons ago. And so we've known each other for a long time.
Great guy.
And
Oakland boy.
yeah,
Oakland boy.
Oakland boy.
Yeah.
And so he was recording a solo album
With Tommy.
With Tommy,
Right.
Audacious Rising, and he wanted me to do a slide track on the album. And so he called me up and said, you know, I want you to play slide on this song, and absolutely, let's do it. How are we going to do this, Tommy? Well, Tommy's going to be in your house at your house tomorrow, or you know, next week, whatever he said. All right, well, let's do it. So Tommy
Tommy's
came
a great
over.
guy.
We recorded the slide tracks, and the record came out. You know, great sounding record. And then about I don't even remember exactly, maybe 6 months after that, Johnny called me up and he said, "Hey man, I'm the new singer in Earthquake. We need another guitar player."
Boom.
All right, yeah. I said,
I'm going.
didn't no hesitation there. You know, Earthquake,
Yes.
man.
Huh?
Wow. All right,
That's-
count me in.
Count you
I'll
in.
be there. I'll be there.
That leads right into the one and only, the great Robbie
Mr.
Dunbar.
Mr. Dunbar.
What do you think of Robbie? Robbie's just such a fabulous.
Oh, he's a great guy, but he's an unbelievable musician.
Oh,
I mean, he's an unbelievable musician.
another one. Grade A, top A.
Well, yeah.
huh?
I mean, it's
Just a
it's-
pro.
It's an honor and a pleasure to play with Robbie. He's so accomplished, right? I mean, he's got
Degrees.
he's got musical degrees. He's tunes pianos by ear.
It's amazing.
And he's just one of the best I've ever seen at just feeling out and sounding out harmony and just hearing things, right? Like if I'm listening to a song and I'll have to sit down with my guitar and go, oh, all right, that's where he's going. Robbie will just sit there and go, oh, he went to the flat 5 there, or he went to that's a minor. Yeah, he just hears it and knows instantly, where things are going. And so and then again, just feeling out harmony parts and putting chords together and weird chords together and cool chords together and just things like that. Nobody better, right? Nobody better. So,
well, I'm excited to hear once you guys I can't wait to hear you guys' album. Because
Yeah.
we finished ours,
Oh.
and so now it's on for sale. So we're talking about a guitar player and talking about Robbie and how great how Earthquake is. It's really developed into a whole other thing. I think that it's going to be much greater sum because all your parts are you all merge when you guys all merge, and now that you're writing, it's going to be a little bit different. You probably do your old covers and stuff like that from Earthquake, but now you have your new music that represents the 5 of you.
the new band, yeah.
So this as we wind down, as you know, this segment of Harmonics is basically we're going to dedicate this to Eddie Van Halen.
All right.
So it's kind of neat to have somebody of your stature because you are really when you're on stage, you're exuberant, dude. I mean, I feel you. You're great. You guys all mesh together. You move around the stage. You're smooth, man. I go, look at this cat, man. He's over here, and now he's over there. So we're going to dedicate this segment to Eddie Van Halen. What did you think of Eddie when you first heard Eddie Van Halen?
Same as everyone, mind blown.
Hell? Yeah.
I'm of the belief that there's maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 guitar players ever that really changed the game.
He changed it.
And you got Chuck Berry, right, who pretty much invented rock
Thank
and
you.
roll
Yeah,
guitar.
exactly, right.
The rock and roll guitar, that's
Right.
Chuck Berry.
Right.
Then you got Hendrix, right? Changed the game, made that crazy electric guitar do stuff that nobody had ever,
Who thought?
And then you got Eddie.
Eddie.
And Eddie changed the game 100%, It was the birth of shred.
Bertha Shred.
And so
That's a good way to
and
look at it.
that's what Eddie brought to the game, is just, you know, the virtuosity of guitar in rock and heavy music.
Oh, and that was
And there was
another
nobody
guy.
better.
Nobody better. And that's another thing. So Eddie exuberated, and how he smiled. You do almost the same thing to me.
Wow.
When I watch you, I say to myself, look at him, man, he's just happy as hell. He's just grooving.
How do you not have fun playing music?
Huh? How can?
You know? How do you not have fun
It's
playing
just so
music?
great. Well, Scotty, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
It seems like, you know, we could go on and on. I'm
Well,
going to
we
invite
will.
you about, yes, I
Off
want
camera.
you, yeah, off camera, and playing together. Blue Voodoo and Earthquake will be playing together, hopefully in the future.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you. Wish you the best of luck to get more students, but really just to get that album out. You know? It looks like it's going to probably
Looking
happen for
forward
you
to it.
guys in probably 2021.
Yeah.
You know, but right here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, man, it's this guy right here. If you get an opportunity to actually see Earthquake, keep your eyes on this guy. But the whole band, you're going to keep your eyes on, because they're exuberant, they're exciting. They're going to be somewhat much newer coming out in 2021. He talked about the pandemic. As you know, it has hurt all of us. But as customary, before we leave, I always like to give a shout out to all the people that watch us worldwide. I'd like to thank my producers, Chad and Sujoy, for letting us come back and coming in the studio and doing this show. This has been a long time to do a live show. We'll be on our podcast, Harmonics Podcast with Gregory Correa. I want to thank everybody that makes it all happen. And what I normally do, I give a shout out and we give a kiss to all the women out there.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Peace and love to you.